Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at a couple of upcoming races in Hong Kong, and we look for the vital ingredient, the key element of that race that we might look back on later as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, the first race I'm going to have a look at on Sunday at Sha Tin is race number 2. This is a Class 4 down the straight 1,000 metres, and our winning factor here, the trials. Now this is a little bit unusual, this race, in that we have a couple of horses with solid race form. The debut winner from the Ricky Hughes stable, Allied Agility, and also a previous winner down the straight, Super Junior, who is back in form. But I think the unusual aspect of this is that discussions are still going to be centred mainly on the prospects of a couple of unraced horses, Aurora Steed from the John Size yard and Classic Unicorn from the Chris So team. Now, it's been established over many years now that John Size is the king of trainers when it comes to these unraced horses making their racecourse debut. And we're going to have a look at a quick table here just to show the recent history of that. Now, if we took this back further, John Size in the last 10 years has trained 3 times as many debut winners in Class 4 as any other trainer. But this particular set of stats we're looking at, this only goes back to September of 2013, because that was when Chris So's training career commenced. And you can see that since then, he's really made a niche for himself. Although he hasn't quite got to Size's standard yet, he has snuck up into second on the ladder, ahead of Ricky Hughes, who's been training a lot longer, but also has a great record with his first starters. So we've got a head-to-head almost here between John Size and Chris So, the 2 top trainers of unraced Class 4 debutants. So the key to unraced horses is that we obviously don't have any race footage to look at, and we have to rely very much on how they barrier trial. And there are many barrier trials a month these days in Hong Kong, plenty of opportunities to trial. And we're going to have a look at 2 of the key trials for these horses. Now, firstly, Aurora Steed, he's had 7 trials in total. His most recent couple have been on the quiet side, and his trials have been punctuated by some illness and injury problems. But I'm going to take you back to January. This is his 5th trial, and this occasion he meets a couple of handy horses. If we look at the trial here, he's in the yellowy colours, and up beside him is Meridian Genius. Now, he hasn't yet won a race. He's certainly going to win races. But further back in 3rd and 4th, we've got horses like Lorries and Taking You Further, who have both won races since this time. So these are not mug horses. These are horses of some talent, and yet we see Aurora Steed and Meridian Genius leave them in the dust. Now, since then, we've seen Chris So wheel out Classic Unicorn, a big margin winner of a barrier trial in New Zealand before he came to Hong Kong, and his trials here have been pretty impressive too. He's won 2 out of 3. The one defeat was in a dirt trial, and his trials on the turf have been excellent, including what we're going to see now. Now, this trial was on May 10 at Happy Valley, and the underlying point I want to make here is this is the fastest trial in history at Happy Valley, over 1,000 metres. This is a very fast trial, much faster than other trials on the day. Sectional times were strong, and as you can see, he has spread out his rivals over quite a lot of the Happy Valley real estate. So this is a really key trial and an impressive effort from a horse, an inexperienced horse making his racecourse debut. Well, not only does it look a head-to-head on paper, but when we go to the map here, it probably could be a bit of a head-to-head in the race as well. Now, Classic Unicorn has the coveted 14 draw here. He should be able to lead them on the outside rail. And Aurora Steed, also a foolproof beginner at the trials like Classic Unicorn, he should bounce out and be somewhere up challenging Classic Unicorn most of this race. So certainly they're both going to be in the firing line all the way. Although the outside, even though there have been probably a little bit of an evening up of the sides in the straight races more recently, still think it's a bit of an edge having that outside fence. So the tip in race 2, Classic Unicorn. His winning factor, the trials. Now, there probably isn't a great deal between these two horses, and certainly John Sizer's record with debutantes is pretty scary and certainly commands a lot of respect for Aurora Steed. But having the fastest trial of all time at Happy Valley over 1,000 metres is also a bit of a swaying point and a very strong point in favour of Classic Unicorn. For our second race on Sunday, we're going to race 5, and the winning factor here, the tempo. Now, when we look down the field, I think a few horses stand out as chances here. We've got the Creative for John Moore and Zach Burton. We've also got Chairman Lowe dropping back into Class 4 after some unsuccessful efforts in Class 3. And finally, Voyage King, a very interesting booking for the £10 claimer Alfie Chan. But I think that we'll see Chairman Lowe once again a short price favourite here. And to look at his prospects, I think we need to go back a few starts to the last time that he ran in Class 4. So we'll have a look at that race now, back to race 501. And something I want you to note here in the early stages of the race, some of the horses that are up the front. Voyage King, Viva Council and Curling Luxury are 3 of the first 4 horses early here. And lo and behold, they are lining up again in this race on Sunday, and that looks to me a crucial point. Back in the field, Chairman Lowe, the grey, very hard to miss. He gets a generous pace on and runs on strongly at the finish to end up in second placing. Now, since then, Chairman Lowe has been up to Class 3 for 3 outings, and he's been beaten in those 3 outings, each time the race won by the leader. And I think that is an important point in considering his prospects here, because although he's still relatively young and lightly raced, and he has time to change his racing pattern, we've probably seen him at his best getting back and running on. And races which are dominated by leaders usually don't suit that kind of horse. And that's why I made note of those horses earlier. Now, if we go to the map, we've got those horses lining up that I mentioned earlier from the previous replay: Curling Luxury, Viva Council, Voyage King, and you can throw in Thou Shall Sing and potentially even Sunshine Warrior as pace influences here. And seeing Alfie Chan going on Voyage King suggests he'll be out to make some use of his speed early, and all of that adds up to a race where there should be some pressure on, and the leaders may not have any advantages here. And that looks made to order then for the run-on horses, the Creative, and also Chairman Lowe. So the tip in race 5, Chairman Lowe. His winning factor, the tempo. Strap in, punters. If you've been on Chairman Lowe before at short odds and been bitten, he's going to be a short price favourite again, but this sets up really well for him to break through. Well, that's it for this week's winning factor. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.